lies all having fun. You know what I mean? Sleep in peace when day is done. That's what I mean. And this old world is a new world and a bold world for me. Stars, when you shine, you know how I feel. Send out the pine, you know how I feel. Oh, freedom is mine, and I know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me.
Cocaine flame in the blood. Sold my coat, my hits. Bought myself a hard pack of cigarettes. Girl, lately my hands, they don't feel like mine. My eyes been stung. Held you in my arms one time. Lost you just the same. Jolene, I ain't about to stray. It's too late. I found myself face down in the ditch. Booze in my hair, blood on my lips. Picture you, holding a picture of me in the pocket of my Eulogy. Still don't know what love means. Still don't know what love means. Jolie, la 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 la. Jolie.
Oh yeah. She was born for it. Yeah. She might have had to tone it down a bit.
It's been so long since I've seen your face. I felt a part of this. I've been living out of this here suitcase for way too long. Man needs something he can hold on to. 9 pounds. I don't want of them things will. I ain't about to stray. It's too late. I found myself face down in the ditch. Booze in my hair, blood on my lips. Picture you, holding a picture of me in the pocket of my Still don't know what love means. Still don't know what love Jolie, la 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 la. Jolene. La 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 la. Jolene.
Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yeah. Hello, everybody. For those who want to take a seat, there are seats available. And on the mats, on the grass, in the trees, just find a spot. Those around the back, there's a lot of seats available here in the front if you want to come forward. There's on. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad the weather has turned out for us today, so that's one good thing, and I think it's Kathleen's luck. Hello and good day, everyone, and welcome here today to celebrate Kathleen's life and share joyful memories. I'd like to thank everyone for being here and acknowledge those who have travelled a long way to attend, travelling from different states and overseas. First, let me introduce myself. I'm Philip Blake, perhaps better known to the Fiji gang as Uncle Phil. I'm originally from Fiji and a long-time family friend of Stephanie and Bill Beddoes and Kathleen's mum and dad. I have known Kathleen's family, let's say, a long, long time, and Kathleen and her sisters since they were little pickaninnies. I'll tell you more about that later. From all of us, our deepest condolences to Kathleen's husband, Connor, and their beloved daughter, Cora, Connor's family, and Kathleen's sister and family. Now, for some garden rules to note for this morning, or this afternoon, sorry. The dreaded mobile. Where's your dreaded mobile? Please turn it off or turn it on silent. The restrooms, ladies and gentlemen, for the ladies, behind you, that block, that's where it all happens. For the boys, there's plenty of trees, gardens, whatever, where we want to go. So that's the restrooms for today. The other issue, or the other note, is streaking in the pond is prohibited and out of bounds, and no kidnapping ducks for your curry tonight, please. We'll go now in the order of ceremony, as those probably got the order of ceremony program in front of you. Will be a mix of families and friends sharing tributes, readings, songs, and stories of Kathleen's life. Also, if you haven't signed the visitors or guest book, where is the guest book? At the back somewhere? At the front, sideways, back, wherever. Please do so. We'd appreciate your signatures in that. You all mean a lot to the families and to Kathleen. Should the weather misbehave, which I think is fine, we have Plan B in action. I'll let you know about that later. I'm going to go straight in, as part of the program, into a eulogy, which the sisters have asked me to talk on behalf of the family and Kathleen. I would like to share some memories of Kathleen's life. As you may know, beautiful Kathleen was diagnosed with cancer last year. Sadly, she lost this battle on Sunday, 28th August 2022. Kathleen will never be defined by cancer and death because she was love, laughter, creativity, joy, excitement, and life. Kathleen Edwina Beddoes was born in Fiji, 13th October 1975, to Stephanie and Bill Beddoes, and is the eldest daughter of the four sisters. Kathleen spent her childhood years at Korilevu on the Gold Coast in Fiji with her two cannibal sisters, Mara and Tiara. Ashley was still with the Pixies in Seventh Heaven then. They loved their freedom and relaxed lifestyle, running around in their undies and fuzzy-wuzzy hairstyles, and enjoying their outdoors activities and stressing out the grandparents. In her early childhood years in Korilevu, Kathleen had a habit of going off to her local Fijian school for about 10 minutes and then doing a runner back home, telling her parents she's had enough. As a little girl, she spoke the native Nondringa Fijian dialect fluently, taught to her by her besotted May, we call them, which is a Fijian boom in the English language, a nanny. From Korilevu, the family left for New Zealand for a couple of years, with Ashley, where Ashley was born. Soon after, the family returned to live in Fiji. In later years, Kathleen and Mara attended the Swami Vivekananda School, high school. They didn't like the school name, so they changed it to Sweet Valley High. I've always remembered that. They'll say, how was school? Oh, Uncle Phil, Sweet Valley High was perfect today. After high school, Kathleen left Fiji for further education in Brisbane and stayed with friends. She spent a short period of time in London and returned to Brisbane to look for a home in readiness of Steph and the three sisters' arrival into Brisbane from Fiji, which was in January 1997. Kathleen found a homely Queenslander at 26 Buckland Road, Nanda. Take the note of the name in Brisbane, it's called Nanda. We used to make fun at the choice of suburb because the word Nanda in Fijian is poo. It was a loving, warm, welcoming and party home for many years, with music always in the background, and songs I remember the most blaring away whenever I went around was Cruisin' by Gwyneth Paltrow. We still do today, with all of us dancing and hugging each other and dancing around in circles and going crazy. It was good times. It was during this period that Kathleen joined the renowned international South Pacific Island Dance Group, performing shows at venues in Brisbane, the Sunshine Coast and Gold Coast. She followed in her mother's footsteps, who was also a very talented island dancer. Kathleen also, by the way, was a very talented singer. It was happy times at Nanda. Unfortunately, it came with a sad ending, with Stephanie being diagnosed with cancer and left us in March 2006, with her beloved daughters around her. After Stephanie's passing, Kathleen stepped into the mother role, supporting her sisters while continuing with her career path in creative industries in Brisbane. During this period, she decided to start a new life and left Brisbane to live in Sydney in 2007 and continued her successful career in the design field. She was a social butterfly and loved a good time. Her infectious laugh and a warm, bubbly personality drew many friends. After many years searching for Mr. Right, she finally found the love of her life in Connor Shepherd. Thank you, Jane, for setting them up. She's the culprit. Connor, you are so lucky, as Kathleen was a very choosy lady. Romance blossomed and they married in 2021 with beautiful little Cora by their side. I must say, Cora is Kathleen all over. Sorry, Connor, but it's the truth. To Connor, beautiful little Cora, and Kathleen's sisters, those we have loved don't go away. They walk beside us every day. From her Fiji gang, we love you, Kathleen. Long time, full speed. Just no break. Just a little couple of words here, in ending words. It broke our hearts to lose you. You did not go alone, for part of us went with you the day God called you home. Thank you.
So Uncle Phil forgot to mention, if you're coming up today to talk, you have to do a tequila shot. Whether it's before or after, that's your choice, but you have to do it. So we're going to go after, but the barmaids are probably... Well, Tia, you can go first if you want. Up to you. I'm going to go after. We've got a...
Oh yeah, we should.
Okay.
Voice of reason. Voice of reason.
Okay. So usually at any significant life event, when a Beddoes speaker was required, being the eldest, we would naturally nominate Kathleen. Even if she didn't know it, we'd always stitch her up. So thank you, Kathleen, for forever stitching up your younger sisters. Kathleen was not only the eldest, but she also had a way with words. She had a magnetic energy mixed with the perfect amounts of charm and humour. In moments like this, she would dig deep and craft a speech that hit all the right notes. So here we stand today, digging deep. Kathleen was a born nurturer, and being 13 years older than I, Kath and Mara, at one point or another, took on parenting roles. They have been mother figures in my life. They changed Tia and I's nappies, made our meals, entertained us, and in Koralevu, when the generator went off, they fanned us by hand and patted our bottoms
Slave labor.
until we went to sleep. I don't know where Mum and Dad were, but that was our memory. They also never let us forget this. Whenever they needed something done, hey, can you get me a cup of tea? If we tried to weasel out of it, they'd be like, oi, I changed your nappies. Kath's mothering was warm and gentle and playful, but also firm when I pushed the boundaries. She instilled the love in me of a freshly made bed, and she forced me to contribute to our family meals. I made dried chicken and rice for a solid year. Countless times, Kath soothed me with a "it's okay, Baba," or a "come here, Baba." She'd pull me into her warm embrace with her impossibly soft skin, and she always smelled delicious. She loved a body lotion. She took forever in the bathroom, and she turned it into a slip hazard. Safety was in her arms. Home was wherever she was. It was an honor to care for her and serve my sister in her time of need. I hope I was her safe harbor and was able to be a little bit of who she has always been for me. I'm so thankful for the last few years we had in Sydney together. When Mara left, I got her all to myself. Our time living together in Glebe with Connor and Titalia and Johnny and even Scotty, wherever you are, I'll hold close to my heart. It was like a family home. Kath always ensured we did family dinners. Hers were always the best, and Tits and Connor always cheated by getting takeaway. The Toxith pub in Glebe was at the end of our street, which was really dangerous. We always gathered there and often played drag bingo on a Wednesday. You know, Kath loves her queens. We were usually the loudest table and would all take turns in making Kath and Johnny laugh, who, my two Librans, both shared the best laugh in the world. Through lockdown, you couldn't keep us apart. So, Kath was my one person. Our 5K radius perfectly aligned that we could meet right in the middle of our homes at Clontarf Beach. So every Wednesday, we would have a picnic date with our girls. Our cousin sisters, we called them. Cora and Gaia. While it may not seem like it now because Cora's a bit off Gaia, our girls do have a special bond. Cora, like Kath, is a nurturer, and she's accepted Kaya like her baby sister. Connor and Kath, I promise to continue to foster their cousin-sister love. I'll have that beach day we spoke about. I'll let them run nude and wild. I promise to bring the magic at every life celebration. I'll make handmade cards, and I'll bring out the fairy lights. I promise to share all the stories. Cora will know the magic and the infinite love her mama has for her. I promise to be the auntie who you can call on. Rain, hail, or shine. I'll come running for your baby girl and your lover every time.
Good job. Oh, I put pink on you. I'm sorry.
I've got a print out as well.
I feel like I need to... I'm going to read off my phone. Sorry. Can you hear me? Maybe I need to... Don't touch it. Oh, God. I'm just tippy toes. Okay. Sissy, Leanie, Kathleen, Dreamtime Eddie. How has it been just over a week since you left us? I'm sure all of you are feeling the same way. My brain won't let it sink in. I keep waiting for you to wake up. Wake up. I keep waiting to wake up. Fuck, don't you do that.
Or do that.
And tell me about this awful dream. After Mum passed and Kath moved back to Sydney, I would call her in the middle of the night just to talk about any dream or worry. I know Ash and Mara would do the same. Kath always knew what to say to calm our frantic hearts. She's the secret to our sister sandwich. Unsurprising to anyone here, she was a wildling. Her big smile beaming, curls dancing with every adventure. Growing up, I was in awe of her. Her social butterfly magic and her big circle of friends, filled with beautiful people. Inside and out. Kath's little sister was my name in those days, and I didn't mind it one bit. We little sisters looked up to her and followed her any chance we got. I'm grateful we got to share the highs and lows of motherhood together. Kath and I in particular, pregnant with our twinnies. We'd swap tips and we came up with a catchphrase, "It's a mixed bag," when anyone asked how it was going. I don't need to tell you all how devoted Kath was as a mother. You all saw it and you all felt it. She was equally devoted to her role as an auntie, not just to our children, but to yours too. Her friends and her extended family, you could see it in her eyes, big genuine love shining out for your child. Cora and Sunny are yin and yang, and I have a feeling they will lead each other astray and guide each other back. I promise to encourage their bond, make Cora and Connor laugh at all the inappropriate times. I promise to always make sure the Christmas tree is real pine and the playlist is straight fire. I'll work on my spot picking at the beach. Every time I'd pick a spot at the beach, Kath would sit down and say, "This isn't it," and we'd have to move. So every time we sit down now, we're going to be like,
Picking this spot was really hard.
I promise to always keep our family connected, and we will look for you every day. I love you, I hug you, I kiss you, I miss you.
That's so good.
All right. Whew, this is very tall, very high.
It is very tall.
Fix it.
I don't know how to break it.
Okay.
There we go, that's better.
Before Tia and Ashley arrived on the scene, Kathleen and I were raised like wildlings. Again, second time I use that word.
Very hot right now.
She was wild. We were raised like little wildlings on the coral coast of Fiji. We thought our grandparents were the king and queen of Fiji, and we were the princesses. No joke. If I close my eyes, I can feel the cool breeze on my sweaty face. I can hear Mum shouting at the dogs to get out of the house. Tumba! I hope they heard that in China. I can smell the ocean and hear the waves crashing on the reef. These were the days. I can feel the woven mat under my sweaty feet, and I can see the back of Kath's head disappear as she runs down the concrete steps.
Why were you guys so sweaty?
It's hot in Fiji, man. It's humid. To meet our friends on the beach, and of course, I would follow. Our adventures together didn't stop there. She planned, and I enjoyed, many trips together when we got older. Many of these were to come back home to Fiji to see family and spend hot summer days drinking beers in the back of trucks, speeding down the freeway to Natandola beach parties. The trip that always stands out most in my mind was the one that she planned for South America with our cousin Reese. I was fresh out of a breakup. Reese was and still is a complete nutbag. Kath was beyond excited, and we were ready to all cause trouble. She had every minute planned, filled with experiences and exploring, and I loved how she would look over at us with a satisfied smile when each one blew us away. That look that said, "I told you." Standing at the feet of Christ the Redeemer statue, in awe and completely hungover, drinking cold caprinas on Ipanema Beach, getting swallowed up in a crowd of hundreds and thousands at Carnival. She was our great leader, and we were her willing tag-alongs. It wasn't all follow, though. There was that one time when she followed me, or more, moved in with me. I had just moved to Sydney, and we both needed a flatmate. And we both looked at each other after I suggested it and said, "Is this madness? Will we fight?" You bet we did. Those small niggly fights that siblings have. But oh, the fun we had. The parties, the free drinks, the cool new bars, the house parties, and all because of the friends that she had and the connections that she had made. I was her constant companion, her wingman, her sounding board, and she the same for me. She made our flat a home. She decorated it, she cooked beautiful meals, and she hosted many gatherings, with our tiny flat bursting at the seams. She gave our home a soul, and it was glorious. Glorious, too, was seeing her fall in love with Connor. She first described him as, "Not my type, girl!" But mate, did the tide turn? He pulled out all the stops to win her over. Champagne, flowers delivered to her door, beautiful dinners, so many gifts for her and all of us too. I remember one of the many nights talking into the early hours after a big night, describing the man I felt that she would end up with. And I think I plucked Connor out of the universe because he fits the description to a T.
She's trying to take credit, Jane.
It was the both of us, right? Let me find where I am. Confident, caring, self-made, comfortable in his own skin. I mean, leave the man alone in a crowd and watch the guy thrive. We were sold, and she was too. Seeing her so happy and content and in love was and always will be highlighted in my life. He was the center of her universe without a doubt, until, of course, Cora Queen arrived. I remember when she called to tell me she was pregnant. I was walking through East Gardens Shopping Centre, and she called and said in a half-whisper, half-disbelief type of way with a nervous giggle at the end, "I'm pregnant." With tears rolling down my cheeks, I screamed down the phone, "Shut the fuck up!" I can swear to here today. We're not in a church. She had always been such a nurturer, and now to do the very thing that she loved and did the best with her very own little Bubba. She made pregnancy look easy, and oh, how she glowed. No morning sickness, just glow, glow, glow. She still went to all the dinners, all the parties, all the social events, and still did all her workouts right up until the last moment. She was so strong and so determined to deliver Cora naturally. And when she sets her mind to a goal, she smashes it. Cora Bear, what a legacy you are. You look like her, you have that cheeky glint, have her love for music, and her warm, nurturing spirit. I promise to hold your hand through this life, to walk with you and your dad, through the good and the bad, and I promise to keep you connected to your Fijian roots, to give you a safe haven, and to keep our arms around you both forever. We love you, Kath. Thanks, guys.
Now we do shots.
Oh, shot time!
Cue the music.
Cue the music.
shit, I bought a tissue. Oh, she wanted a shot.
She's like, oh no, not these.
Dramatic.
Pretty much.
Okay. Kathleen, Kath, Leanie, The Lean, Mrs. Shepherd, KB, Queen, Soul Sister. We stand here today representing Kath's colourful Sydney crew, a group weaved together from across the globe and held together for over 20 years by Kath and her ability to ensure every birthday was celebrated. Every occasion was marked with a picnic, a getaway or meal. Every detail was tended to, the perfect restaurant chosen, the perfect picnic spot picked out, perfect playlist playing, the most thoughtful present chosen, and of course, her camera snapping the evidence of every adventure. The only time she wasn't present at a get-together was if she had the opportunity to be with her precious sisters on a weekend away or if they were in town for some sister time. When I was speaking to Mama G about what we should write, we didn't want to double up as to what may have already been said. Then we realised there would be crossover, as Kath always brought consistency and was the same to everyone, full of life, love, hugs, laughter and dance moves. That is a true quality, consistency. Even as Kath got diagnosed, she lived her life the same. Grabbed by both hands and lived as she always did, making the most of everyone, every day, every opportunity to be with her family and friends. Her diagnosis didn't need to wake her up, but it did give us the gift of being able to wake up to ourselves and grab Kath back with both hands and show her what she means to us. Being a part of Kath's entourage meant you wanted her to be the first one to meet your new partner. Her ability to read and suss them out in an instant meant you could relieve yourself of any time wasters with just one meeting. As she only wanted the best for her friends, and if you brought a dud to a party, you'd know it. If you brought Mr. and Mrs. Right, she'd welcome them with open arms, and they're one of us now. When it came time to finding love herself, it was no secret she always wanted to be in love and meet the man of her dreams. But her ability to friend zone guys, making them instant dance floor competition, meant Kath was able to wait for the absolute perfect Mr. Right. She wasn't going to settle. I think we all thought there'd never be anyone good enough for her. How do you match that lust for life, family, friends, beach days, flowers, music and sunsets? Then along came Connor, and now it was our turn to approve. Approval from the gang didn't come easily, but he passed every test. Dance moves, check. Great present buyer, check. Hard worker, check. Loves his family, check. Loves her family, check. Loves her, check. Connor, you were able to make Kath the happiest woman on earth, showering her in her beloved flowers from day one and fulfilling her dream of being a mama. No matter how you know Kathleen, if you're in her life, you felt like the only friend in the world. How could she make us all feel so important all the time? How did she go that extra mile for each of us every time? Over and above, every time. Like the time at Kate and Julian's wedding, she didn't just notice the bread roll that looked like a penis. She thought about who would like it the most and thought that Renee should have it. So she stuffed it in her bag and posted it to Melbourne for Renee with a note saying, "Love Rudy." From her days totally owning the Sydney nightclub scene with Wendy and Bronwyn as her femme sidekicks, and the boys Carl, the Chungs, Yuri, Johnny, Carlo and Julian as her loyal henchmen. She led us all over Sydney, knowing all the doormen and bitches, and where the best music would be. We'd dance until the wee hours of the morning in a tidy group of at least 25. Can you imagine trying to get that crew into anywhere now? Kath would make it happen. And then there would be epic after parties. Never anything less than fun and light-hearted storytelling, and that roaring laugh at the centre of it all. There'd also be sun-drenched balcony chats and meals by Wendy at the Surrey Hills pad. Steph, Kath's mum, would often visit and give us pearls of wisdom, smack-in-the-face life advice like, "Do you think he's just not that into you?" Honest advice, just like Kath would give us. May her lessons to us be that she's taught us all to take life with every bit of who we are and love it to pieces. Love our people, tell them, show them, pick up the phone, make the effort, smile, send that penis bread roll, organise that get-together. Gather the family, love each other and love this life, for that is the way of the lean. Thanks to Mara, Ash, Tia, Connor, Cora for sharing Kath with us and making today so perfect. Every detail is as if Kath has chosen it for herself. There's no one who would have loved today more than her. She's here with us, you know. Who else do you think organised the rain clouds to part? Big shout out to Auntie Suzanne too, always ready to be at Kath's side when she needed you. You're now our auntie as well.
Should always take a tequila shot before you speak in front of people. It's quite liberating. Many of you, like me, may have been thinking quite a bit about what your world will look like going forward. I would like to finish our tribute to Kath with some words about how we might carry on in a world without Kath right by our side. Kath's ability to touch each and every person here today was a truly extraordinary talent. To welcome all with open arms, take them into her embrace and make them feel special, understood, and loved for their authentic self. That is a truly sublime. And so we will honor her memory by opening our hearts, embracing those in need, and loving those around us for their authentic selves. We will try to find humor where before we might have been too easily frustrated. We will try to remember to laugh at ourselves heartily and readily. We will get up on that dance floor, chair, or table, and we will dance. We will make a promise to be available to those that we love and cherish. We will pour that glass of Savvy Bee or Hey Hey Rosé, and we will sit down with them and just be present. We will pick each other up in times of need, and we will tackle our own life's obstacles with dignity, courage, grace, and humor, because that's what she taught us. Our love and profound respect for our beautiful friend is etched in our hearts forever. She has been a guiding light for all of us, and though our lives will carry on, we will walk forward into our respective futures, but always look back and see her beautiful smile in our minds, feel her warm embrace when the sun shines upon us, hear her laughter when we need it most, and remember the words of encouragement and love that she had for each and every one of us when we feel discouraged, sad, or have lost our way. We have been blessed to have known her, loved her, and to have been loved by her. And we will count our blessings, and we will share them with the world just as she did. And in this way, Kath lives on through each and every one of us.
Rest easy, my love. Your legacy to live life, love your family and friends, make the most of every day will live on through all of us, and especially your precious daughter who will know your incredible ways every day. Until we hear your voice say, "Hello, my darling," again, fly high.
She would want us to.
Here's trouble.
There's a hole in that one. Quick. Doing it wrong, Yeah, thanks for the sunshine, Kathleen, after the last couple of rainy days. We first met Kathleen almost exactly 30 years ago. She blew in from the west like a hurricane and hit Suva. And all of us guys were like, who is this? She was always up for an adventure, and she became a big, big part of all of our lives. At uni, Carl and I would have these epic road trips. I remember one time Kathleen came down and she just showed up at my place, and an hour later we were back on the road to Brisbane going, hey, I heard you had a new good club out there, let's go. So we had these epic road trips, and there were many, many midnight drives that me and this guy did just to go see her up in Brisbane. I think we might have ruined your car a couple of times there, Harvey, so thanks. I'd be Carl driving, me navigating, and Kathleen in the back seat just laughing. And that laughter had never ended. It's been mentioned many times over the last couple of days just how much fun it was to hang out with Kathleen and just laugh. She could light up a room with that laughter and keep it lit. It was my favorite thing, and I'm grateful that it was just so easy to make her laugh. I don't even think we were that funny, but she just laughed. For my family, for me, Kathleen was the sister we never had, the sister and daughter we never had. She was there for every single one of our life events, 21st, weddings. When I got married, I couldn't think of anyone better to be my best man. So she stepped up, and she was my best man. One of the happiest and most excited I ever saw Kathleen was a couple of years ago. I was in town for a night, and she took the day off work, and we just drove around like usual, just cruising around town, talking, laughing. She wanted to tell me some big news. Guess what? What? I met this guy. And he's moving in. What? Yeah, he's moving in. I helped her move the bed, get her ready. And then she said, guess what? And then we're going to try to have a baby. And I was like, I couldn't have been happier. Knowing that Kathleen was going to become a mother was one of the happiest days of my life. So thank you, Connor, for making her so happy. And thank you, Cora, for coming along when you did. You made your mama's dreams true. She's always going to love you. We're so happy that you're here, and we're all going to be one big family now. Ah, I lost it. Yeah. Damn you. Whose idea was that? So to our belly laughing buddy, adventure finder, party starter, and beautiful, caring friend, wherever we were or whatever we were doing, they were always the best of times. You always had a strong, calming energy. You lived a life full of love, which shone through you every day. All of the memories you have given us will always make us smile. We will love you always and forever, and look forward to when we will meet again and laugh some more. Thanks.
Thanks, Mara. All right. Our biggest cheerleader and supporter. Like Ty said, she was so much fun to be around that on more than one occasion we thought it was an amazing idea just to hop in the car and pay her a visit in Queensland.
At 3 a.m?
Yeah, 12-hour drive, hang out for the day and then drive back. She was so considerate, she eventually moved to Sydney. So the news was like, Sydney winning the Olympics, we were so stoked. Everything was so cool when Kath was around. Even when we were kids, somehow the parents allowed us to do so much more if Kathleen was part of the plan. And we never forgot that. She was our eternal trump card. So if we wanted to do something and we weren't allowed to, it'd be like, even Kathleen is going. Or if we wanted to go somewhere and we weren't supposed to, it was like, we can check Kath on the way. And they're like, boom, all right, sweet. Eventually her sisters all moved to Sydney and the pride was united. That seemed like some of her happiest times, and then meeting Connor was the icing on the cake. We all couldn't have been any happier for her. Oh, sorry for them. She was the best part of all of us, gave selflessly and always expected nothing in return. She would be disappointed when she knew that we could be better people And I'm pretty sure I got the phrase, "Oh, please," from her. We'll miss her like crazy, but I'm sure she would hate this fuss and would only want us to be happy and be the best people we can. Thank you.
This short poem is called Love is Immortal. Love is pure energy, and no matter how hard you try, you can never kill love, because pure energy cannot die. The feeling of love can fade, and the body can cease to give, but the energy created by love is immortal and continues to live. I love you.
When you're close to tears, remember someday it'll all be over. One day we're gonna get so high. Though it's darker than December, what's ahead is a different color. One day we're gonna get so high. At the end of the day, remember the days when we were close to the edge. I wonder how it made it through. And at the end of the day, remember the way we stayed so close to the end. Remember, it was me and you, 'cause we are gonna be forever, you and me. You will always keep flying high in the sky of love. Don't you think it's time you started doing what we always wanted? One day we're gonna get so high.
Hey, hey. My name's Christelle, and I'm another cousin. My dad is Chris Blake, and along with his brother, Uncle Phil, kicked around with Uncle Bill, Kathleen's and the girl's dad, and his brother, Uncle Mick, in the early Fiji days. Steph, Kathleen's mother, was a joy to have known and an influencing force in our lives. Stay on. My sisters and I, another big family, grew up in Fiji alongside the Beddoes girls and the children of my parents' siblings, cousins, and friends who have stayed in our lives and become family. From our sunburnt Coral Level days, dancing shows, Fashion One competitions, and the innumerable birthday parties, to the home base in Buckland Road. Kathleen has been a part of my life since we were both babies. And our families have followed each other around Fiji, to New Zealand, back to Fiji, and eventually Australia. As teenagers and young adults, we thought life was tough. But looking back, those were the golden years. The boys were a part of that too. They shaped the women we became, cemented the friendships we formed, and solidified bonds with family. As a cousin and family, she always had my back. As a friend, she was always there with music and drink. While we weren't in each other's lives as much as in our younger years, it only took a message or phone call to pick up where we left off. Man, that laugh of hers filled space and time. Kathleen was many things to many people, and all of us here today are testament to her heart and her capacity for love. Like all of you, I've spent the last little while going back through memories, photo albums, and sharing the many stories. Kath lived her life with grace, kindness, love and strength, even when she faced her own challenges. She enveloped all of us with her charm, wit, hugs, and days at the beach. family will miss you not being here, Kath. Okay, I can do this. The hard lesson I'm taking away from this is to stop thinking I have more time. In a world that is almost frenetic now, it is a reminder to stop and breathe, to be kind and offer grace when I don't understand, to be more patient and considerate of others, to keep an open heart and always an open door to our home. The weeks and months ahead won't be easy, and I'm pretty sure Kath and Steph will be relieved to know we'll all be checking in on their family. Connor, without a suspension of a doubt, Kath loved you. She talked about you from the beginning. You made her so happy. And Cora completed your family. Our family's prayer is that we stay connected, that you and the girls with Brendan, Johnny and Rod come through this as a whole, and that no matter where life leads you, this Matangali is where you will be. Guys, there is so much life to be lived with our families and friends. Let's put a little bit of Kathleen into everything we do. Loloma Bimbi. Tequila, you gotta do a shot. Sorry, Dad.
Sorry. All the lekker pies.
Wait, yeah. Wait. Back up again. All right.
Where's the fourth sister?
Yeah, where's the other sister? I see you. Don't try and hide.
Don't hide. Come on, hurry up.
Well, I suppose before we start, I should introduce, we are also another lot of cousins. It's our youngest sister, well, I'm the youngest sister, our third youngest sister, Lee, and then Sarah and Kylie. And we also grew up with Kathleen and her sisters and the Blakes. So that's a bit of context. Kathleen, Kevi, Kathleen, Leanie. Mother, wife, sister, cousin, aunt, friend, ray of sunshine, life of the goddamn party. A party which was more often than not organized or instigated by her. This wild, creative, kind, funny, beautiful, adventurous powerhouse of a woman was known by many names and was absolute magic to all who were lucky enough to come into her orbit. You instantly felt her sunshine. She made you feel seen, feel heard, and feel like you were the most important person in the world to her. The love my siblings and I share with Kathleen and her three sisters was the type of love usually reserved for brothers and sisters. All-encompassing, unconditional, as wide and deep as the ocean, to the moon and back, there for each other no matter what. We were so lucky that this love legacy was cultivated in the very beginning by our fierce, fearless, adventure-loving mamas. They gave us besties, showered us with love and adventures, and made sure we never strayed too far from each other. Our babies have now also been weaved into the fold, and these cousins are being raised with that very same love and adventure, and so the legacy continues. We have been reflecting on our lives together these past few weeks, and we have so many memories together, it's hard to single out just a few. As kids, weekends were filled with eager anticipation of the adventures we would have together. Many a memory was made hiding in the old Korolevu Hotel, playing in the bushes at Bila, curating a dance performance or 10 for our drunken parents, or swimming in the pool at our house in Lamy. quite early, Kath and Kylie found alcohol. Those bunches that were before, they also found it too. From grandma's gin at core level to nights when instead of going to movies, they would tuck in the back of trucks traveling to parties. Kylie would DJ a party, and the proviso was Kathleen, Shane, Christelle, Latila, Nicole, and Kathy would be her +1. There were no limits to the distance for these parties. All the way from Suva to Wailoaloa, Ed's, Planters, the scene was set for a massive weekend. Gina and Steph had their hands full with these girls that loved to dance and party, which, let's be honest, the apples didn't fall far from the tree there. Our lives were always intertwined, and we followed each other around the world. Both Kathleen and Mara lived with us in Lamy to go to school in Suva, big city. Kath moved to Brisbane for school and was followed shortly by Sarah. Then, not wanting to miss out, Kylie moved back from London to Brisbane, and then soon after, Kylie and Kath got a flat at Gellibrand Street. This became Fiji Central, as Beck Southwick moved in downstairs too. Soon after that, Annie, Steph, Mara, Tia and Ash migrated from Fiji, and Kath moved in with them at Buckland Road. Buckland Road, the unofficial Fiji embassy, was born. Now that we had a Brisbane base, the gang had a beacon to gravitate towards, with everyone moving into the area, or within a few streets, or some even the house next door. Between Steph's mayo and tequila, there was always at least one weekly meal or backyard dance party together. Our collective love for Aretha Franklin was born in that Buckland Road kitchen, where we solved all of the world's problems, singing, dyeing our greys, well, for some of them, some of us. Some were very young. Cutting vegetables and drinking cups of tea. Kath and her sense of adventure saw her break away from the Brisbane village for the big city lights of Sydney. And in true Fiji style, the village was not far behind her. Both Lee and I flattered in Sydney with Kath at some point. Throughout the great village migration, Kath was always the chief social organizer of family gatherings, parties, and sleepovers. And my lord, was she the best auntie to all of the village babies, which came in very handy for all the parental bribery. Hey, Auntie Kath said you have to go to bed early. Hey, eat your vegetables. We can't go and visit Auntie Kath if you don't eat your vegetables. Hey, we're not going to the beach if you don't get dressed, Auntie Kath said. Anything could be achieved if the Queen of Adventure was mentioned. With her Fiji family and friends and the various incredible friendship groups she lovingly cultivated behind her, this independent woman tackled everything life threw at her with grace, strength, kindness, and always a laugh. She took everything in her stride and always had a funny story to share to lift spirits. Humor was everything. And boy, did she have the quickest wit. Better think twice before opening your mouth, because shots would be fired. But you'd always end up in stitches. So you didn't really need to think very long or hard on that one. She lived to make people happy, our Kathleen. A life-changing moment came when she was set up with Connor by the lovely Jane. And Connor received many a baptism of fire into the Fiji family friend village and became an honorary Fijian in the process. She found her kindred spirit in Connor, who, although not her usual type girl, her words, not mine, made her laugh and treated her like she was a little bit of magic and valued connection with family and friends as much as she did. It was so beautiful to witness their relationship blossom and grow, and see the happiness and love that these two share. From that love and happiness came our beautiful Cora Tiare Rose. Kath was so excited to have her baby girl and couldn't wait for her to join the long line of cousins and for Cora to join in on their sassy pants ways. Connor and Cora, we love you so very much, and we hold you always. Our beautiful Catalina, our lives will never be the same. Go in love and be with your mama. I'm sure she was waiting for you with open arms and tequila. We will think of you at every beach trip, at every sunrise and sunset, and make sure your two favorite people always feel the full love of the village. We love you, we hug you, we kiss you, and we miss you always.
Thank you for the short Addisons. It's an honour to say something about Kath today, even if it's just a little poem. I think this was written by a lady, so if you just picture me and Brendan in dresses, it might help a little bit.
I think I've seen me in a dress.
When I go from this place, dress the porch with garlands, as you would for a wedding, my dear. Pull the people from their homes and dance in the streets. When death arrives like a bride at the aisle, send me off in my brightest clothing.
Serve ice cream with rose petals to our guests. There's no reason to cry, my dear. I've waited my whole life for such a beauty to take my breath away. When I go, let it be a celebration, for I have been here, I have lived, I have won at this game called life.
Don't worry about a thing. Every little thing gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing gonna be alright. Rise up this morning. Smile with the rising sun. Free living birds. It's by my doorstep. Singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true. Saying, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing. Every little thing gonna be alright. Saying don't worry about a thing. Every little thing gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds, it's by my doorstep. Singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true. Saying, this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing. Worry about a thing. Every little thing gonna be alright. Don't worry. Saying don't worry about a thing. I won't worry. Every little thing gonna be alright.
Hello. I'll be reading a poem today called If I Should Go Tomorrow. If I should go tomorrow, it would never be goodbye, for I have left my heart with you. So don't you ever cry. The love that's deep within me shall reach you from the stars. You'll feel it from the heavens, and it will heal the scars. Boy, wow.
Shit.
I'm definitely a shot before kind of person, but I think my brothers are here for the free drinks.
Dad, if there's a free drink on, the shepherds will come. Dad, just stay.
I'll start. Maybe we'll have one at half time or something. Well, first things first, true to Kathleen's family and friendship group, there's been a lot of people at my place the last few weeks. To say the least, I think the village is now, or the village has moved to my place, which I might need a bigger place, I think. But thank you for coming, because it's much nicer to have a lot of people around than less. Secondly, my nails are my first venture into motherhood on the weekend. So I think the second, and the colour is actually Fifth Avenue by Essie, if anyone wanted to know, if you like it. I've got half a bottle left. Someone needs to teach me how to take it off, and then maybe to plait hair and whatever other things I need to learn to raise a girl. Now, reading a eulogy for Kathleen feels pretty wrong, considering her motto was always live life. But it was more like, come on, man, live life. If I was laying on the couch at home and didn't want to get up and go anywhere, that's sort of how she'd coax me into the outdoors for an activity. She was always right, though. It was always a bit more fun doing whatever she wanted to do than just sit on the couch. Her attitudes, what led... okay, now I'm running out. Okay. This attitude of a love of life was what led her to have more great friends than anyone I've ever met, whether it be Blues Fest at Tony and Leanne's, Christmas party at Chloe and Toby's, Glaston Baby Festival for Julian and Kate. She was always going to bring her best self and probably leave with a few new friends in awe of her glow for life. We met about 7 years ago. If a few of you heard, it's Jane, without telling us, decided to set us up. Little heads up would have been good, as I was on the couch in my undies eating some salt and vinegar chips. The three of us went to the North Bondi RSL for a schnitzel. While we were there, I think I became the latest victim of Kathleen's infectious personality and her love for life. Whether it was a singing along to the background music or a storytelling, I was very interested. The next day was her birthday, so I rang around, found out her address, which was a bit creepy. Sent some champagne and flowers. A lot of the rest became history. I was now on board for all the good times, parties, events, beach days, even though I don't like sand. It was all great. And yesterday I had sand everywhere through my car and everything because we went to Balmoral. So she got one back at me again. We lived together in many different places and she made them all a home. Birthdays were especially great, as she'd wait till you fell asleep, decorate the whole lounge room with fairy lights and candles, make a tower of presents for when you woke up. I always thought it was a fire hazard, but she was never going to let it stop her from living her best life. It was the best way to wake up in the lounge room, as long as it wasn't on fire, but it was brilliant. On to Cora, and obviously Kathleen became the greatest mother ever and made the whole journey so much fun. She made it all seem easy. She excelled at every part of raising Cora. Unfortunately, I've undone a few of those things she's already done. It didn't take me long to ruin it, but I feel the groundwork's there so I can get her back on track with sleep time and getting Cora back into her own bed. As I've never been kicked constantly for 8 hours and woken up 30 times until I let Cora into my bed 2 weeks ago. So I'm running low on sleep. Don't ever do it. Get them into their bed. Even in her last weeks, she was amazing and positive. It was so impressive to see the strength to the end. I've inherited 3 great sisters and brother-in-laws, and all of them are amazing friends to help with whatever Cora and I face from here on. I'll miss you forever, Kathleen. And I promise to live life with Cora every day. Thank you. I think this is our wedding song too.
If it was the only love I'd known, from reaching for the bottom and brought me back, being too far gone. You're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. And honey, I stay strong on your love all the time. I've looked for love in all the same old places. Found the bottom of the bottle's always dry. But when you poured out your heart, I didn't waste it. 'Cause there's nothing like your love to get me high. And you're as smooth as Tennessee whiskey. You're as sweet as strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy. And honey, I stay strong on your love all the time.
Pre-digital and short. Every one of you here can remember a moment. For some of you, you were born to that moment. When Kathleen Beddoes came into your life, when you met Kathleen. And we never know the significance in our lives of those moments and where they may take us. Usually until some distance of time has lapsed from that moment until now. And one of the great things about the rites of passage is an opportunity to reflect on what love and friendship and connection mean to us. And possibly one of the most poignant aspects of this final rite of passage is that we get the full distance from that first significant moment until now to evaluate what someone so deeply loved has meant to us. And that's where we are today. Some of you here, as I said, were born to this. You're a family by blood, and some by marriage. And some of you are friends and extended family. And the beautiful thing about Fiji is that the Matangali knows almost no end. Fourth and fifth cousins. And I think that brings me back to something that is always, in my mind, Kathleen. Not just her heritage of the islands, not just her life's narrative tied so closely to that of her homeland, but an intrinsic and immutable part of her identity. And there's a beautiful tradition in Fiji where on a day such as this, particularly for someone of such significance, to stand here together, and I have that privilege, a ngase, a marama level, an old one, a senior lady, to stand with you and speak of who Kathleen is, of who her people are, for those of us who are here today and for the ones who have gone before. And it is a huge privilege. It's a begatting story, and it's interesting. In the Bible, we have lots of begattings, Joseph to Joel, and I have to say it's a feature of the patriarchy that we place so much emphasis on the begatting, which, no offense, gentlemen, is a fairly small event, compared to the much larger event of the birthing and the raising of families. Ruth and Naomi and all of those in the Bible. But this story is a little shorter. The South Sea Islands have always held a place of almost mythical fascination for the Europeans. And from the time they had vessels that would travel that far, a love affair with the South Seas has been born into the cultures, all of the cultures who found a place and a home in the Pacific Islands. And they've ranged from the loggers and the whalers, the sailors who were shipwrecked or jumped ship, from the remittance men and the vagabonds and the wastrels and the missionaries, and all of the people who came to the islands and created this incredibly complex historical melange of which so many of us here are some historical part. And so I will go to my digital support here so that I get all these begattings right. Because Kathleen's family go back to the 19th century in Fiji on all sides of her family. Kathleen and her sisters are fifth generation Kaivalangi, who came from the UK, from various parts of Europe, and made their home and intermarried with other families, Fijian, mixed race, European, that creates this incredible, as we call it in the islands, fruit salad that we are. Her paternal great-great-grandfather, Scotsman James Clark, came to Fiji from Aberdeen in 1885 with his French wife Isabella and 4 children. They settled on the banks of the Rawawai River in Ba, and he worked as a chemist in the colonial sugar refinery. One of their sons, James, enlisted to fight in the First World War in Europe, where he met his English bride, Olive Higgins, and she came back to Fiji with him, and they set up a sugar and cattle farm in Sarawak in Ba. And in 1919, Kathleen's maternal grandfather, Bill, was born, and he, like his father, was also a farmer and grazed cattle in the western district of Viti Levu, the main island of Fiji. He and his wife Emma had 4 children, Maud, who was my son Tulai's great-great-grandmother, and then Dora, who was Kath's great-grandmother, Florence and John. On her mother's side, Kath is a descendant of the locally famed Captain William Scott Petrie. He sailed his ship, the Westward Ho, from Arbroath in Scotland, initially to New Zealand, and fortuitously for many of this very large clan here, he decided to settle in Fiji and set up a home in Levuka. 10 years later, Captain Petrie died, and Emma, or his widow Granny Petrie as she was known, survived him for 49 years and raised her girls on her own in Suva. Her daughter, Dora Petrie, married Hugh Ragg, a trader in Ba, and had 7 children, the youngest of whom was Kathleen, the namesake of our Kathleen and her beloved grandmother. She was born in Ba in 1919 also. Bill Clark and Kathleen Ragg married in 1947, and a year later they bought the Korolevu Rest House, which became the famous Korolevu Beach Hotel. And this was the scene of so many, this and the home in Korolevu, the scene of so many of the beautiful stories that everybody who's spoken before me has mentioned and glorified in memory. Kath's father, Billy, also comes from a large Fiji family. His dad, Malcolm Beddoes, married Bess Sorby, and she is very fondly remembered as a wonderful mother and grandmother by the large Sorby clan, and a special welcome to all of those here in Fiji and in New Zealand. She was a strong matriarch and a very beloved member of her community. The Beddoes men were also prominent in public life. Kath's great-uncle Ted in the diplomatic role, and her father Billy's older brother Mick, the lifetime's representation of the general electors in the modern Fiji parliamentary system. And a welcome too to all of the Beddoes whom I know are gathered in Fiji and other places with us, sharing this day. Kath's mother Stephanie was born in 1951 and raised, as mentioned by my fellow eulogist, Uncle Phil, in Korolevu. She went to the boarding school here in Sydney, to the Sisters in Kincoppel Convent in Rose Bay, and after a tour of Europe with her step-grandmother, Lady Reenie Ragg, another force of nature, she settled down to work with her parents in the family business in Korolevu in the Beach Hotel. Billy is one of Fiji's most talented musicians, songwriter, singer, and I've heard a beautiful story of him recounting how he met Stephanie, dated her, and dared to marry the boss's daughter. And as you know, Kathleen was born in 1975, Mara a couple of years later, and then Tia in 86, and Ashley a couple of years later. How do I fit into this story, and why am I standing here today? It is an enormous privilege. When I first married one of Fiji's sons, Andrew Thompson, many decades ago, Stephanie became a heart sister to me. They were very close, Stephanie and Andrew, spending their summers also in Korolevu, and he was a little older, the bigger brother that she had never had, and she welcomed me like a sister. We became very close. She threw the baby shower when I had my son, and she lived with us before she migrated to Australia. But it wasn't until she became very sick with multiple myeloma in May 2005 that something truly extraordinarily beautiful happened for both of us. She and her beautiful cousin Jackie, and I send the hugest lalomo to Jackie with us today in New Zealand, took it in turn to come to Nunda, to Brisbane, to Buckland Road, to the Fiji Embassy, and in turn take care of her and be with her. Her beautiful daughters. Kath, as you know, left her job in Sydney and she moved back up to Brisbane to be with the family and to look out for her sisters. And Mara, a couple of years younger, and Ash, only 16 at the time, and Tia, 18. And that journey, that brave journey that Steph took over 10 months, until finally she died in March 2006, I was honoured to be part of. And more than anything in my life, a commission from her to be there for her daughters, to stand in when they would need someone, to be not just an aunt, but to be, whenever they required, the mentor or the mother or the person to whom they might turn. And I can honestly say to you, through all of the years of that privilege and that honour, I never expected to stand here today with this most sad of commissions from my dear heart sister Stephanie. It brings me to Kath's role in that time. Not only did she leave her job, as I mentioned, but she stayed on after Kath died, leaving career and your beautiful circle of friends to make sure that her sisters were settled, that they finished school, that they went to university, that they were secure and that they were safe, until finally, knowing that, she went back to Sydney and took up the reins of her life again. And she was 30 years old when she became that other mother to her sisters. And no one could have spoken more eloquently than they today about how central to their survival, their happiness and their well-being Kath was. In those years that followed, that decade from 30 to 40, I looked on, and in my heart, in that kind of mother role, I longed for her to find her mate. And as you know, there were no shortage of suitors. She was one of the most spectacularly beautiful women, inside and out, and all of you have spoken at the way she could fill a room with a smile. And so when she finally said to me, Auntie Suze, I've met someone. And yes, he isn't my usual type. I was, first of all, curious to see what this might be. And I also was putting on my maybe mother-in-law hat to think, so who is this fellow? He's probably punching well above his weight, and I just can't wait to meet him. And I did. He had a swagger, a little braggadocio about him, and he was handsome and dark. And I thought, we'll see. But kudos, dude, you got into the ring. And yay. There was also another little piece of this. I felt almost like Mrs. Bennet in Pride and Prejudice when I said to her, and darling, who are his people? Because clearly, as you all know, coming from Fiji, we all know where we come from and who we're connected to. And there are no relationships formed in this space where we don't all know each other. And I remember the day. It was November the 26th. It was a Sunday, the day after Mara's wedding up in McMaster's Beach. And Kath had said to me, Connor's parents lived just down the road, about 10 minutes in Greenpoint. And I said, darling, invite them. Tell them to come for breakfast on Sunday after the wedding. And I remember sitting on the deck with all the dusty, rusty partygoers struggling with the morning after, scrambled eggs and a bit of champagne. And through the swing door onto the deck walked a tall man and a petite brunette woman. And they came and sat down in the midst of this after-party carnage, and we spoke. And within 10 minutes, and I remember my beautiful husband and I, Rod, we just clicked with them. We knew who Connor was because we recognized in his people the same values, the same things that were important, the same way that they had raised their children with respect and gratitude, and so many of the things that we as parents looked not only for in our children, but when our children were going to choose a partner, that those values would be aligned, and that that marriage was built on something that was solid and would last. And I went to bed that night not only reminiscing about beautiful Mara Bess's lovely wedding to Rod Owen, but feeling content in my heart that Connor was the right man. But I do remember a beautiful story, and I asked her when she said, we're moving in together, we want to try for a baby. And I said to her, darling, when did you know he was the one? And she told me. And 4 weeks ago, we were sitting in hospital together. We had no idea what the next month would bring because she was there for just some transitional treatment, and we sat together every day, getting treatment right and talking, massaging. And I reminded her of that wonderful question that I asked her all those years ago. Darling, when did you know that Connor was the one? And she said, Auntie Suze, you remember when Uncle Chris was sick? And I went up to Fiji with Mara because we wanted to go and support the family. And that was just so, Kath. And after that, we were just going to come back to Australia. But Connor got in touch and he said, I've just had a big tax return. I'm going to come to Fiji, book the most fabulous place, and you and I are going to have some time together. It's going to be our romantic time. And she said, and then we went to a beautiful hotel in Momi, which we all remember used to just be a headland with a bit of a beach, but now had a gorgeous hotel. But of course the Coconut Wireless was in train, and people knew that she was there. And beautiful Gwen and Melino Emberson turned up. And this romantic little duo turns to a Fiji party. And Connor just quietly went to reception and booked a room for Gwen and Melino. And she said to me, and that's when I knew he not only got us, that was the Fiji way, to quietly do this thing for me. But much more importantly, I knew that this was the man who would be there for me. That I didn't always have to be the strong one, the organizer. That here was someone who would look after me, who would make some decisions, who would actually be there for me. And when I reminded her of this story, and we spoke about it 4 weeks ago, we reached out and held each other's hands, and the tears in our eyes, that knowledge all those years ago in that little hotel in Momi, who would have known what would have been asked of this beautiful man who had promised to be with her, and whom she trusted, and whom she knew would be the one. None of us could have predicted. And here he is today, standing with all of us, and us with him. Kudos, respect, gratitude, love. One of the most beautiful pieces of this, and many of you have spoken of it, so I shan't go on, was the journey for Cora. And Kath was in her middle 40s when she was trying. And she started this journey, knowing it would be difficult, by taking a road to optimal wellness. And she gave up drinking and sugar and partying. You remember that kind of little couple of them? And all of that because she was going to make her body strong and fit, that against the odds of her age, to carry this beautiful child. And the day when she called me and said, Auntie Suze, I'm pregnant. And it was just a gift from God. And she carried this beautiful child. She was well and she was happy. And this gift at 44, the day before her 44th birthday. The piece of this journey, where it ends for all of us here today, started on the 15th of November last year, when I remember this most heart-stopping phone call from Kath, leaving a doctor's office saying, I've been diagnosed with cancer. And I know that for all of you, hearing that was just such a message of initially shock, and yet instantly all of us turned to how we would support her on this journey. And yet, curiously, she supported us. She carried us. And the way in which she carried herself through this journey was, to me, one of the most outstanding examples of the woman that all of you have spoken of today. Like her journey to have her child, she made this a journey of wellness, and she was going to win this. She took up meditation daily, visualization, a diet around fresh juices and healthy living and food and exercise, and all of the laughter and love, and the fact that she stopped drinking and doing the hard partying made no difference to the magic that she brought every day. It wasn't the external aspects of our party, darling, that made her magic. Even when she did none of those things, the magic continued, and she inspired every one of us on that journey. Tambu soro. She would never give in. And right to the very last day. And the journey that all of you took with her through the network of loving support, her courage and her inimitable belief in her own ability to change the world made that a journey of courage, of hope, and despite the fact that we are here today celebrating her life, she won. She won, because here we all are, and the love will never end. I take two things away from this journey. Most of you have already alluded to her incredible gift for friendship, not necessarily of friendship, but for friendship. Before the appalling, ubiquitous networkers and influencers of our time, Kath was the ultimate connector. She had the ability to see into every person that best self, that blossom of something beautiful, and to connect each of us with others in that beautiful big circle and network whom she knew would get on. And how many of you today know how many of the rest of you here today, because Kath recognized that beauty and that seed of friendship that you would nurture together, this beautiful network of people that are her legacy. But the most memorable piece of this, and I remember the last few weeks of her life being at the hospital every day and joined by her sisters, was that she never felt a victim to this. Never once did she say, "This isn't fair." And many people to whom I've spoken about the journey we've been on as a family have said things that you've all heard. Life is brutal. Things aren't fair. How could this happen? Kath never said that once. Never once did she think or waste the energy to go, "Why did this happen to me? This isn't fair." She said to me, "Auntie Suze, this is just random. This is just random. Why not me? So many other people have walked this journey." And she never once felt that she was victimized by this diagnosis. And as you all know, she made it into an opportunity to live life even fuller and with more gratitude and more appreciation of everything that she had. I want to bring us back to that moment when each of us now, with the hindsight of our first moment to today, to remember this beautiful woman, to remember the joy and the beauty that she brought to us, and to finish with a beautiful old Fiji proverb. And it says, "Kina muka vatanga nikua." Kina muka vatanga nikua. And it means in English, we are all on the road to Namuka. And some of us will go ahead on this road. And some of us will straggle and come more slowly in our own time. But eventually, all of us will meet again in Namuka. And I say for Kathleen, ki korolevu vatanga nikua. Ki viti vatanga nikua. To all of us who have a home, a spiritual legacy in these beautiful islands, Kathleen has gone ahead. She is with her mother, her grandfather, her grandmother, and all of those whom we have loved, who have gone before. And the promise of this proverb is that we will again be together in Namuka or Korolevu or in Fiji with our beautiful girl. And I ask you now, as we have our beautiful Fiji choir, and I think we have some pieces of paper with the Isole, to join with us now and led by our choir. Are they coming forward, the choir? In Fiji time. comes the choir. And have we got our pieces of paper that you can all join in? Everybody knows the first verse of this. Some of us struggle through the third, and we generally know the last line, Rosindamu, in the last. Over here. Come here. Come here. Stand forward. And do we have a song sheet here? I'll join you. Come, let's stand around the microphone. She loved to sing, and we could not leave this place without raising our voices.
Who's going to give us the notes?
we'd love to invite you up to come and choose a flower, a blossom from either of these receptacles and go and throw it into the pond and bid your farewell. And we'll ask Connor and the sisters and all of the family to come and choose a beautiful blossom.
That's lovely, Sis. That's lovely.
I can't walk on carpet.
That's wrong.
Yeah, me too, yeah. I'm going to take my shoes off.
Yeah, so you're still with him. Yeah. He's just
Are you having a tequila shot? Are you getting straight into the tequila?
No, I'm going to make sure. Fantastic story.
Reminders in life that just snap you out of it. Lucky she is.
Harvey Probert.
Where's Gav? Where's the man?
You've got too many, please. You don't have to say that to others, though. I was only if she was
I'm just saying hi to Mari, I haven't even said hi yet.
If she gets a little iffy, the more thing goes up. Oh no, I told them that.
Bye now. Pleasure, a real pleasure. Honestly, a massive pleasure. Good on you.
Hi everyone. Just a reminder that the drinks are on at the Wallara Hotel now if you wanted to make your way upstairs. Kathleen would love you to get involved and have a few good times and share some good chats. So hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks everyone.
Just a bit of a nap and we're fine.
Everyone needs to right away.
Very good, very good.
Shirt,
I know, look, it's somewhere there. When you dig deep, it's in there.
Matching Murray's got nice and pink.
I know. That's good. That's it. Yeah,
such a
that was a
good
great
service.
service.
It
I
was.
thought it paid tribute to it. Massive.
Beautiful.
Magnificent person.
I hope the
Yeah.
singing at the end was good too.
Yeah. Wait till I go on. Dan, what is it? Singing.
Australian Idol
The
or
Voice.
something. Oh, the voice. Nah. Keep away, keep away.
Okay.
All right, Gavin, I'll come and
All
see
right.
you later.
See you. You guys going to the Wallara? Against our boy, you know, the standoff. Shepherd B, Leo O'Hara. Oh, they missed out. Oh, really? Yeah.